Hello everyone, Grandma Kimmy here. After yesterday's very deep video, I thought I'd come on and do something a little bit brighter and lighter. I wanted to talk to you about when I was little and the things I found fascinating, the things we got up to and things like that. Obviously, you know, I live out in the country, so that was something very spectacular. But I remember when I was little, I must have been about 6 or 7, when I came across my very first monkey puzzle tree. I was absolutely fascinated by this, and it was in a lady and a gentleman's farmer's land, and it was they were called Mr. and Mrs. Pargeter, and they had this monkey puzzle tree. And I always remember being totally fascinated by it, because it wasn't like the oaks and that I'd seen in our local woods. Nothing like the Christmas trees that I'd seen neither. And I used to ask my dad, I remember asking my dad why this tree was different. And he told me it was because, and it was called a monkey puzzle, because when the monkeys got up, they couldn't get down. Now, I know that's a load of rubbish now, but at the time I thought it was true. And I had awful times thinking about these poor little monkeys stuck up these trees with nobody to get them down. But I mean, now I realise he was having me on, because a monkey puzzle tree isn't for that at all. We know that now. Another thing I wanted to say about, I remember I had a really dear friend, a young lad, and we hung about a lot when I was little. And we used to go into this particular woods. But after a while, the farmer started putting up barbed wire. And it was just a single thing of barbed wire with poles. And the way to get through it was that I would go through and he would go head down, head down, head down. And I'd keep my head down until I was right out the other side. And he'd say, stand up. Well, this particular day, I wasn't really thinking, and I was going head down, but I was looking away. And I said, stand up. And he stood up right under the barbed wire. And, oh, it went into his head, and yes, it did make him bleed. And I will never forget that. I was absolutely grief-stricken that I'd done this to my friend. And in this woods, there was this stream. And I can remember when we were little, because in them days, T-shirts and jeans, what my mum put on me, because I was a bit of a tomboy. And we used to start at one end of the stream and walk all the way along in the stream. The water was fresh, but we knew we couldn't go beyond, because the other side of the road was where the sewerage came in. And that is where I learnt about my fear of rats. People say to me, Kim, why are you scared of rats? Because some of the rats that were by this sewerage pipe that come out into this stream in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of the countryside, there were rats. And these rats absolutely petrified me. I can remember being in my house. It was a huge Tudor house, a long way from anywhere. And we used to look out of our window, and sometimes Mother Rat and her kids used to come and play on my lawn. And I am telling you that they were as big as cats. People would say, don't be daft, Kim, but they were huge. I remember cycling my bike home one day, and as it came in the driveway, or should I say gate, we didn't have a driveway, came in through the gate. This rat ran, and it was moving so fast that it went through the my wheel, the spokes of my wheel, and just ran straight through. I remember feeling and thinking, oh my word, what would have happened if he got stuck in the wheel? But he didn't. But ever since that, since I was little, the thought of a rat, mouse, anything rodent makes me feel physically sick. Not that I would hurt them. My daughter wanted a rat, and she got a rat, and we named him, or was it girl? Anyway, Chamois, as in chamois leather, because it was champagne colour, as they called it. And sadly, the poor thing wasn't well, and it got a growth, and I took it to the vet, and then we had this growth removed, and it came back again. And I remember I hadn't got a carrying case, and she was really poorly, and I put it into a little shoebox with holes on the top, and I can remember marching up through the high street where I live, and took it to the vet and say, what can we do? And he said, well, Kim, there's not a lot we can do, mate. You know, it is a rat and you've paid a lot of money out for it. And I said, does that mean? Yes. So sadly, we had to say goodbye to the rat. And I shall always remember walking back through town, shoebox in hand, sobbing my heart out. And I often now look back and think, what must those people have thought? They must have thought I bought a really posh pair of shoes. What's that, Jimmy Choos or something? and they're broken, and I was mourning the loss of my shoes. They didn't know that the rat was inside, did they? Anyway, that's beside the point, but it's one of the things I can remember from when my children were little. I remember when I was about 11, 12, my mum wasn't very well, and she used to work on the farm, and they asked me, the farmer then, because we didn't have all this health and safety like we have today, if I would go and do some potato picking up, and it was on this machine. And I remember standing on the machine and these potatoes going by, and when it got to the end, lunchtime, I felt so unwell. Whether it was just because I couldn't do it, I found it hard work, I've never done a full day's proper work in my life, but I wanted to go home. And I remember my mum being really, really cross with me, but my dad being really soft and saying, no, she don't want to do it, she's not going back again, that's the end of it. And he didn't make me go back. My dad was soft, my mum was tough. One of the other things I remember is I very rarely have any luck on raffle tickets. I always buy them, but I never win, because they're always for a good cause, aren't they? Now, I remember my very first win, I was at school, in fact, primary school, must have been about 9, and I won, and I was absolutely elated to win, and it was the Swiss Family Robinson. It was a book, a hardback book. And you know, I never, ever read it. Why? Because I was so upset that I got a book. There were many prizes at the primary school. There was toys, trains, dolls, teddy bears, and I won the book. And I said, that's it, I'll never have luck again. And you know, I haven't. I can't remember the last time I rang on a raffle prize. Maybe it's because I was ungrateful for the book, who knows. The other thing is, I can remember when I was about 13, 14, we had moved into another house closer to, up to the village where we lived. And there was a rustling, and I called my dad, and it was a polecat ferret. And he picked this polecat ferret up, and it was white. And I named it Midge, from a cartoon then which was called Mary, Mungo and Midge. I don't know if any of you've heard of it. I think that's the right name. And it stayed with us for a while. And at that time, by the time I was a little bit older, I was dating somebody, and we took it to their farm where they lived. They lived on an apple picking farm, and I took it there, and sadly he got ill and I lost him. Now, funnily enough, if I go near anything like that that's to me rodent-ish, as I said, I feel absolutely physically sick. But Midge was different. He would go up in my sleeve and run round my back and down the other sleeve. He was gorgeous. And he was one of the things that I used to think, oh, you know, they're not as bad as I thought they were. Anyway, I suppose this has been a bit here, there and everywhere, and I apologise for that. Next time I'll be better scripted, but I don't script what I say. Obviously, I just come on and say, this is me, and this is what I'm going to talk about, because that's what I do best. But anyway, I hope everybody's okay. Why not tell me down below about one of the things that you remember from childhood that will stick with you forever? Something that you can smile about, something that made you sad, something that made you look back when you were older and think differently about the situation than you did then. Anyway, everyone, I love you lots. As you can see, I'm here with my boys and their toys. 2 asleep, bless them, 1 awake. But he is my wakeful boy. He's always awake. Anyway, thanks ever so much for your time and trouble. I'll see you soon. Oh, and I wanted to say, my daughters brought me some babies, and I can't remember who they're made by, which is ridiculous. But anyway, I shall get the other babies out so you can see them next time. I've had them a lot longer than I've had my reborns. I didn't start reborns really until quite recent years, but my other babies are different, but I'll get them out and show them to you another time. Okay, love you girls and boys, bye.